Verl, baby, take it away, Mr. Workman. Love you, man. You're muted. You're muted, Verl. You're muted. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm not muted anymore. Thank you, Brent. I'll see you in Cabo. I'm going to talk about accountability is love.
I like it. Well, go love them, Verl. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. How's everybody doing? Good to see you all. A few weeks ago, we asked, hey, what are the things you want to talk about? And there were a couple things that came up. One came up and said, we'd love to do like live, like hot seats, where you actually take someone, figure out where they are, help them kind of move forward. And we're going to do that on an upcoming call. But I wanted to talk about a really important thing that's on my mind lately, and that is the concept of what accountability is and what it isn't. And a lot of people think accountability is something you do to someone. Brian, if I tried to make you do something you didn't want to do, if I were to push you, what would I be met with? Like
Resistance, resistance.
resistance, right? So when I pushed, you immediately brace and you push back. John was like, yeah, it immediately has that. With every action, there's a reaction. And we think that accountability is something that you can do to someone. And when I think about all of the high level producers and the strong personalities that are have here, we think about, I don't want to be a leader because I don't want to have to babysit people, or I have to hold them accountable, and I don't want anyone holding me accountable. And that whole concept is I'm going to call it lost on me, because I believe that accountability is the opposite. It's not something you do to someone, but it's a culture you create where they choose it. Brian, if you chose accountability, it would be different. If you have you ever signed up for like a personal trainer, and like you actually signed up to meet someone at the gym to hold you accountable to do exercises? And when you
Yeah.
pay for it and sign up for it, you're choosing accountability, you're more likely to show up. Isn't that true?
Yes.
As opposed to setting a resolution or a goal to do something, knowing very well that you're not going to do it every day and there's no consequence if you don't. And so this accountability concept is lost on a lot of people. I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to give you a kind of a framework for accountability and how to choose up, not only how to choose it, but how to show up differently for the people that you lead, whether it's an individual, an organization, team, a brokerage, or even a family. Like accountability is love. When I think of my children giving them a curfew, I don't give them a curfew because I don't trust them. I give them a curfew because I don't want them to be put in situations that they're not mature enough to be able to handle as kids. I don't want them to have to make hard choices. And I also was a teenage boy, and I know that boys are naughty. And don't want to put my sweet daughters in a situation where they have different agendas. And so I create a curfew. And when they come home 2 hours after curfew, I simply hold out my hand and say, give me your phone. And then they act like you're ripping their arms and legs out of the sockets because, the flying what start to occur because you can't possibly take their phone because that's how they're connected to life. But next time they think about staying out past curfew, they come home. Accountability is love. And so I'm going to ask you some questions. One of my favorite books is a book called The Oz Principle. And the Oz principle talks about the choice of accountability. And I'm going to give you a quick self examination of whether or not you ever live in the victim cycle. And so if you answer yes to a question, give it a one. If you answer no, give it a zero. I've already do this on a sheet of paper real quick. So were you ever surprised by negative feedback from somebody else when you thought all along you were doing your very best to solve a problem? And then you got negative feedback. One is yes, zero is no. Next question. Have you ever spent time blaming somebody else or pointing fingers when things didn't go your way or the way you wanted them to go? Not my fault. My broker did it. My buyer's agent didn't follow up. Like, have you ever spent time blaming somebody else or pointing the finger when things didn't go your way? Yes or no? Did you ever suspect something would become a problem for someone else or for your company, but then you never said anything about it? Oh, yeah, if they keep doing that, that's going to come back to bite them in the butt. How many times have you thought that and not said anything? Right? If you've done it, one is a yes, zero is a no. Have you ever spent time covering your tail just in case things went wrong? Have you ever like stacked the deck to make sure if something goes wrong, you're at least covered? A follow-up email or a text or something that covers you just in case it goes wrong? Interesting thoughts, huh? All right. Have you ever said, hey, it's not my job, and expected somebody else to solve a problem? Have you really actually thought that? I'm not doing that. It's not my job. One is yes, zero is no. All right. Do you ever feel totally powerless with no control over your circumstances or your situation? And ever is a long time. You ever feel like you have no control? Hmm. All right. Have you ever found yourself waiting to see if a situation resolves itself before you get involved? I'm going to wait and see. I'm not going to do anything right now. I'm just going to wait and see, even though you know there's a problem. 1 yes, 0 no. Have you ever just said, just tell me what you want to do and I'll do it? Like, I just give up. I'm going to stop trying to do this on my own. Just tell me what you want me to do and I'll just do it. I totally say that to my wife. When she's trying, like, I just like, don't wait for me to do the right thing. Just tell me what the right thing is and I'll do it to avoid accountability. Have you ever felt like you would have done things differently if you were the owner? If I were the owner, I would totally do that differently. 1's yes, 0's no. We're going to add up total points. Do you ever tell stories about someone who took advantage of you, like a boss, a friend, a contractor, a buyer, or a seller, somebody in your organization or in leadership? Have you ever told stories about how someone took advantage of you? 1 yes, 0 no. All right. So now I want everybody to add up your points. So add up the total points and I'll tell you what they mean. So there's a number. So I'll go to chat really quick. Tell me how many points you add up as your total. What's your total? 7. Thanks, Carmen. 4. Jay and Carmen, am I only people adding? Come on, everybody. I need you to go in and give me your totals. There you go, Latrice. 7. Thank you. There's Keena. Hi, Mark. Nice to see you. 7, 8, lots of 8s, 7s, 8s, 9s. Okay. So here's what it means. If you're 0 points, you're not being honest with yourself. You're just lying. So knock it off. We all fall below the line. If you're 2 to 4 points, you should take some satisfaction that you're only human. If you're 5 to 7 points, you realize you can easily fall below the line. And I'll explain what that is in a minute. And if you're 8 to 10, where a lot of us live, you're pretty honest and you're quite normal. Just recognize that you're normal. And you should find the rest of this book or the rest of this program very useful to you. And so that's what we've done. This whole program on the Oz principle is based on the characters of the Wizard of Oz. And when you think about that, they all wish they had something they don't have, and they go on this journey following the yellow brick path so they could have the things that they wanted. Have you ever said, if only I had better leads or more inventory or better coaching or better agents or better admin or more opportunities, then I would be successful? If the rates were lower, then I would win. Like, we think of all of the external things, if they just happened, then we would be successful. And what we realize is we can't go the way that you came if you want to be able to choose a different outcome. We have to think differently. And so what accountability is, and I want you to think about this, is a personal choice to rise above your circumstances and to demonstrate the ownership necessary for achieving a desired result. I own it. Nothing's going to change unless I make the change. It's you making the change. There's this thin line that is described in the book that separates average from exceptional, and it's a very thin line. And the concept of accountability means that we drip below the line where the average live, or we have steps to get us above the line. There is absolutely no one who I know of that is exempt from dipping below the line in their behavior. But it's how fast we recognize it and whether or not we take the steps to get above the line that makes a big difference. And so let me give you some of the things we do in what we call the victim cycle, or living below the line. That's where you say things like, we're in those quizzes. It's not my job. Blame it on somebody else. You ignore and deny there's even a problem. You wait and see, or you act like you're confused. That's my favorite one. My son does that all the time. What? I was supposed to take out the garbage? Like, what? I didn't know it was they just got confused. I'm like, but like, we've been doing it every week since you were 2. And it's always on the same day. There's no confusion here. It's just a choice. Or they cover their tail. I told somebody else to do it and it didn't happen. We drop below the line, but then I want to give you the steps to get from below the line to above the line. And the first thing, when we see our behavior or our situation drop below the line, the first thing I want you to do is see it. You got to recognize it. I'm below the line. Like, here I am. And then, whose problem is it? We have to own it. It's my problem. It doesn't matter whether it's your problem or not. When you take ownership of it, that's when you start seeing a clear path to getting back above the line. And then we say, okay, how do we solve the problem? And you actually solve it. first in thought and then in action. So you see a problem, you own the problem. Whose problem is it? My problem. An example would be I don't have enough listings. I'm not making enough money. Whose problem is that? Is it the market? Is it interest rates? Is it like, no, it's my problem. It's a prospecting problem. Brent said that right when I got on. The moment you own it, you start saying, okay, I own it. How am I going to solve it? I'm going to prospect an hour a day. I'm going to track it. I'm actually going to do it, and I'm going to measure it, and I'm going to do it every single day for a period of time. When you see it, own it, solve it, and do it, what happens is your behavior starts to shift, and you start to stack up wins along the way. Accountability is not something someone does to you. It's a clear choice, and probably the most important choice you'll ever make. And if we can teach our organizations, we can teach our teams, we can teach our brokerages how to create a culture where personal accountability shows up instead of the victim cycle and the blame cycle, it changes the nature of the output of the entire organization. You have this unbelievable ability to change the outcome of everybody you touch just by choosing accountability and owning the situations that you live in. I think it's fascinating when you take the time to just see it. Somebody give me an example of a time or a situation that might cause you to dip below the line and be in the victim cycle. Give me an example. You come off mute, just talk to me for a second. Give me an example of feeling helpless, or it's somebody else's fault, or only if then I could be successful. Give me an example of that.
When a buyer backs out of a deal last minute.
When a buyer backs out of a deal last minute. Okay. And then how do you respond to that, Mark? Whose problem is it?
Mine.
And so do you whine about the buyer? Do we talk about all the loss we've had for months and months and months and not prospect and get other buyers? I mean, what's the solution there? How would you use these steps to get yourself out of a victim cycle in that scenario?
It happens and you just prospect.
You know, when you have very few deals and you lose one, it's earth-shattering. But when you've got 25 deals in the hopper and one falls out, you have this really cool dialogue called next. Yeah, we lost that one. They weren't able to get their loan, so it's not going to close, but it's okay. I've got 24 others. It's a prospecting problem and an accountability problem and a pipeline problem. But when you only have one deal close in a month and the one deal's getting ready to fall apart, you use everything you can and you walk around with your deal with your clenched fists and white knuckles trying to hold it together. And sometimes there's things beyond your ability to control. But because you only have one, it's devastating. And you drive everybody in your network nuts because the inspector told them that their 30-year-old house had 30-year-old wiring. Well, yeah. And so all of a sudden it's going to fall apart and you have to deal with it. So when you see the problem, what the real problem is, I don't have enough deals. Own the problem. I have to prospect. I got to work my top 50. I've got to do the activities Verl's been teaching me. I'm going to solve it every day by doing an hour of prospecting and an hour of role play. And then I'm actually going to do it by creating an accountability partner and putting teeth or finances into it to make sure that I have that I have accountability where it hurts. You choose the accountability. A lot of people don't want coaches because it creates accountability. All we do as coaches is we remove all the places you use to hide by tracking the things that matter. Think about that. When you measure the right things, and we take away the ability to hide. You know why people don't like to do their daily success habits? Because they realize how little they do every day that actually generates income. Not because they don't like doing it, because they don't want you to know. The key to this whole concept of accountability being the best choice you'll ever make is that you've always had the power to succeed. But you've lived and played in the victim cycle without choosing to go home, without choosing to use your brain or have a heart or have the courage to do the hard things, just like the characters in The Wizard of Oz. Daily Success Habits in My Perfect Week is a perfect example of where we design the life we want. We track what we actually do and we compare them together. That accountability isn't something I do to you. That accountability happens because you become aware of whether or not your actions are consistent with your goals. And when they aren't, you make a course correction. It's as simple as that. So my message to you today is to think about where you are in the victim cycle. Be aware of the steps when you drop below the line of exceptional to where average lives and quickly go through, see it, own it, solve it, do it, to move your behavior back to personal responsibility for the output that you get. And that's how you end up with the success that you're looking for. Success is neither magical or mysterious. It's not a secret pill. It's consistently showing up and stacking small wins on top of each other until the momentum builds to the point where you almost can't control the growth. Does anybody want to go there? It starts with daily success habits. And you can have habits around prospecting, you can have habits around attraction, you can have habits around lifting, personal health, fitness, exercise, all of those things. Okay, so that's my message for you today is own the accountability is a choice you have to make. And we all drop below the line. How long we stay there is up to us. And I'm going to open up the rest of the call. We got another 5 minutes or so for any questions, any Verl, anything you've been dying to ask Verl since the last time we met, or things that you'd like to know about growing your team, or things that you want to do to take it to the next stratosphere. You can have open mic time. Ask me anything. You guys like this concept, Jay?
Love it. Verl, I've been selling real estate for 31 years, and I had some good years, and I had almost a 900,000 tax bill one year, and then all of a sudden the real estate market just shifted, and I really had to get my act into gear. Because owing the government, there's no one worse you want to owe money to is the government.
They don't go away, do they?
They're good at taking it. And the thing is I mean, you can get out of it by just prospecting. You might have to work hard, but you can get out of anything you put yourself into.
Yeah. The other way to get out of it is to buy depreciating assets. So you can offset the income with depreciation. And there's a lot of different strategies to do that. What happens is people that have money and make money play in a different arena that give them the ability to take advantage of laws that people that don't have any money don't have any awareness of. And I've learned that over time to try and put myself in the circles where people make a lot more money than I do, and then follow their strategies so that I can be in their arena. And so I'll give that to you as a tip is if you're not where you want to be financially, how do you get in the room with people who are where you want to be? That might be why you're on this call. That might be why you're choosing to be here instead of somewhere else during these 20 minutes here. It might be why you get a coach and say, Verl, like, I'm ready. Put me in. Just like, tell me, let's figure out where you are and where you want to go. And let's roadmap what success looks like for you over the next couple of years. Mark, one of the challenges a lot of people have that have been in the business for 20 or 30 years is fatigue. I don't know if I want to do it again. I don't know if I want to go through another downturn, build another team, skill to where I'm making so much money, I owe $900,000 in taxes. You're in a different season of your life, and recognizing what season you're in changes what it is you want to build. Like nobody should be telling anybody else what they should build. What we need to do is say, where are we? What do we need to be letting go of so that we can live the lifestyle we want based on the season we're in? And it's different for everybody. Does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah. I mean, it happened to me before, and I had to get myself out of it. But when there's a will, there's a way.
Now, I'm 60, I'll be 62 this year, and I got fired when I was 50. I'm 50 years old. I own a third of the business, and my partners fired me. I never thought I would be 50 and have to get on a plane and go home and tell my wife a job. First of all, I'm psychologically unemployable, so she knew it wasn't going to last long. But we had sold a company, and now I've got all this ownership, and I'm too big of a bull in a china shop. So how do we get rid of Verl? And they did, and I'm blown away. Psychologically unemployable. So at 50, it was really interesting to actually sit down and ask the question, what does the next season look like for me? Because it was different when I was in my 20s and I had nothing to lose. It was balls to the wall. Let's go. In my 30s to 40s, I was raising my kids and I wanted to be a dad that was present. And so I wasn't willing to make the sacrifices I was willing to make in my 20s. Now in my 50s, what happens? What does it look like? We have to craft and we have to design the life we want based on the season that we're in. And I don't think most people consider that when they give advice or when they're coaching. They have this vision of what everybody should do, and they like to project their vision on you. What I want to know is what do you want your life to look like? And then how do we reverse engineer it? And then how do we get you out of the victim cycle into the production side? And a lot of times, the reason we don't do the things that we know will work is because we're not clear on where it is we want to go. And clarity creates the lack of clarity creates pause. And when we pause, it's like it doesn't matter what you do because it doesn't matter because you don't know where you're going. And so if I could just give you some insight today, it would be, Mark, get really, really clear on, like, let's not even go 5 years, like 2 years from now, what does your life need to look like? And what's the minimum amount of money you need to have the freedom you want in 2 years? What is your freedom number? And then once you decide what that is, let me help you reverse engineer the different ways we can get there. We can sell houses, we can do attraction, we can do buyers, we can do investment properties, we can build a property management business. Like it doesn't matter to me. Like, let's figure out what you're interested in and where your passion is, and let's find the money around your passion and put you in the middle of it. That's my business model. Find the money, put yourself in the middle of it. And I don't even want to say this out loud because someone's recording this, but I don't even have to love what I do that much if the money I make funds the freedom to be able to do what I actually love. Like, I'm okay doing hard things.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Kelly, it's
Nothing
like
wrong with that.
I'm okay doing things that I don't love, like prospecting and making calls, because just a mean to an end. It's like, it's how I get to what I really want, and that's bass fishing and being with my kids and grandkids at Disney and or going to Lake Powell on the houseboat. Like, I want to be fully present when I'm there and not worry about whether or not another deal is going to happen or someone's going to sign up or they're going to enroll in my organization. I want to have a business that allows me to live freely. And so I'm willing to do hard things so that I can have the rewards associated with it. Are you all willing to do hard things?
Absolutely.
I mean, you say that, but if you were accused of being a 7-figure income earner, would you be found guilty by your behaviors? If somebody accused you of making $1 million net a year in your real estate business, would they be able to look at your behavior and say, yep, she's guilty of doing the activities that generate that result?
She worked for it.
Yeah, most of us have the goal or the desire, but if we were accused of something, we wouldn't be able to find enough evidence that your behaviors match the outcome that you say you want. Is there evidence to match the outcome that you desire? That's a deep thought. I don't know if I articulated that very well. It kind of, hey, Jay, it's kind of a,
You did.
I don't mean to make it a spiritual thing, but like if somebody said, if you were a follower of whatever your religion is, follower of Christ or follower of Muhammad, whatever that is, would you be found guilty based on your behaviors? Do you treat people with respect? You know what I mean? Like, there's principles that govern behaviors that recognize that you're a disciple or a follower of something bigger than yourself. Would you be found guilty of that by your behavior, or is it hidden in our interaction? So, all right, I have to go. Good questions. Anybody? Final questions. Anybody else have a question? I see a 9 on here. My answer was a 9.
The name of the book. What was
It's
that?
called Oz, O-Z, the Oz Principle.
Okay.
And there's a follow-up book called Journey to the Emerald City. That's also an excellent book. My goodness, if I can ever help you, or if we can help you with your business, please reach out and schedule a coaching consult to one of my guys and let us help you. Let's just figure out where you are and see if we can help you reverse engineer what the next chapter in your life looks like. because it doesn't have to be as hard as we make it sometimes. And I'd love to be a participant in your journey. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope I see y'all in Cabo. Make sure that you come hang out with me and say hello and see you face to face. I'll see y'all soon.
Thanks, Verl.
Bye, everybody. I think our next call, I'm going to call in from Inman in New York. So I'll be dialing in from New York.